Good morning, everybody. I just ran to my chair because I have barricaded pretty much every window that is corgi height in my house. There's someone in your yard getting rid of a bush that needs to be gotten rid of, which is amazing. But the pups think that they're an intruder and want to bark really loud and shrill at them. So I need to stop that. So what I did was made sure they can't see it. So hopefully, they can't be bothered by it. Peace of mind for all. It is good to see you all. Jenny, I believe you said it was your birthday yesterday. Happy solar return and birthday. That is really cool. To anybody who's new here, I'm Crystal and Sophia. I'm a folk magician, astrological magician, and therefore also astrologer. And I like to bring up the energy of the week. And I've noticed we've got some questions already. And yeah, guys, I'm feeling it too. The energy this morning, one of my cards again was the Tower card. Again, that's like the second time in a single week. And I've been getting it frequently, and that's not fair. I've been through enough. I had a bit of a Tower moment over the weekend. It's okay now, but like I'm done. That is enough slices. I do not need a Tower pizza. Thank you. Yes, cool. So someone was talking about the spell that I had mentioned probably on the live on Friday. I mentioned it, the Alchemist Inkwell ink spill. I do have a spell. Thank you. I do have a spell that stops nosebleeds, and it's really, really helpful. It's from Brauerei, which is a sort of Eastern German mysticism tradition, and I really enjoy it a lot. It's one of my the ones I use the most. For headaches, I don't necessarily have a charm that I use, but I do have a healing technique that I can teach you. And then for TMJ, relatable. I am working on that one. I'm going to bring that up to my the lineage that I'm a part of and just be like, hey, what did they call this back then? So like, what am I looking for in our grimoires? Because a lot of our grimoires are from, 15 to 1600s. Sometimes if you're getting into more recent folk magic, that's going to be 1800s. I need to take a drink. Hang on a sec. The air is also super dry here this week. So I'm going to share those with you. Who was the one that asked for that? Just checking in here. Was it Jenny? Anyway, thank you, Kathy. Not sure why my throat is being weird, but yes, I'm very excited. I can share this with you. Off the top of my head, I'll probably be drinking more than usual because there's something that feels a little bit sandy in my throat that just started. So I'm sure I'm fine, but bear with me on that one. Kristen asked about that. Thank you very much, AJ. By the way, to everybody, AJ is my wonderful mod. If you see AJ writing in all caps in the comments, it's because that helps me see. So AJ is not yelling at me. We agreed to that, and I appreciate it. Good morning, Danny. Yeah, it is a super busy day today as well. Hi, Shauna. Good to see you. So we have an interesting week. One of my favorite pieces of astrology is happening this week, but it is bookended by chaos. So we're going to talk about that. There's a Mercury retrograde coming up. I do want to make sure that I dedicate some time to that, but I think we have time to talk about some of these folk magic skills that we can get into. So the stop bleeding technique, the one that I use because it's just spoken and I can use it wherever, and I get nosebleeds a lot because my blood is thin. This one it's really funny. I put it into context because it is based in using sort of biblical connotations as your grimoire. Many, and I love this actually, many folk magic traditions include the Bible in their library of grimoires. Honestly, I wish I could get a t-shirt that said normalize the Bible as a grimoire, right? Because it is. So this spell is, this is the day the wound was made. Blood, thou must stop until the Virgin Mary bears another son. So here's the cool thing there. You say it 3 times, blood, or this is the day the wound was made. Blood, thou must stop until the Virgin Mary has another son. Say it 2 more times, and then you can seal it by doing, like you could do the like write a cross over it. You can seal it with a pentagram over it. You can seal it however you want. Traditionally, you would use the Trinitarian names. I do because I work with those energies pretty well. But any sort of trinity that feels good for you, if you want to do the pentagram or say as above, so below, so be it, however you want to do that, whatever works, whatever feels like it's going to flow for you is going to work better for you. Magic is all about this correspondence, between nature and other things in nature and whatever you're trying to work with, but also you as the conduit of the magic. If it doesn't jive with you, your ideals, and all those things, it may not work as well. So, you know, if you want, instead of Mary, choose another virgin icon in the pantheon. Artemis decided to not have kids, right? So until Artemis bears a son, which is not going to happen, right? Virgin Mary is not going to bear another son either. The idea is, hey, blood, knock it off forever. And here's an impossible goal that I'm going to give you to show forever. That's the whole idea. So this is the day the wound was made, blood thou must stop until this impossible birth happens. And then because it's impossible, it's not going to happen, the blood will stop. And you can then again say it 3 times, seal it the way you want to seal it, and you're good to go. I've done it multiple times. Hey, Ren, I've done it multiple times. Like every time I've had a nosebleed for the past 2 years, I've done it and it stops immediately. The only time it didn't was last week when I was actually making a Mars talisman later that morning. So Mars was strong. First of all, Mars rules the blood. Mars was strong, but I was also making a Mars talisman. So I stopped for a second and I was like, wait a second. If the spell didn't work, then is this sort of like the offering that I'm giving in honor of the talisman? Instead of cutting the bleed short, which I could do, right? I decided to just let it finish naturally. And that's what I did. And the talisman went really well and it was fine, right? It wasn't a catastrophic injury. So I was able to do that. And I was able to recognize like, this might be the offering. So that's okay. Here you go. And that's what I did. But in other contexts, like we're talking about blood. So obviously it's not the prettiest imagery, but I have had some serious nosebleed situations where I have said that charm and it just stops. Tissue comes away completely dry. So I'm going to have to figure out what to do for this one though. Hang on. Okay. I'm also talking to my guides in the back of my head about this just to make sure, because like I said, the first card I pulled for myself this morning was the Tower. So as much as I have things to do today, I need to make sure that I take care of things. So this is also me kind of trying to honor some folk magic stuff today. Yeah, so that's the nosebleed spell. I hope that that was helpful. If you have any questions about that, if you need me to repeat a part, let me know. Happy to do that. I hope some of the ideas and alternatives also help out with that. Yes, I'm really glad to see all of you this morning. I'm just going to catch up a little bit. Thank you, AJ, for sort of bookmarking this. Guys, so one of the cool things that AJ does is you'll see nosebleed spell for folk magic. If you go back into the replay and you can like search through the comments and stuff, you'll be able to find where we talked about it in the video a lot faster. So that's another one of the things that AJ does that I really, really appreciate. And now you know how to use it. The spell did sound similar to the bruise spell. Yeah, Shauna is in my student study, and we had talked about this a while ago. Yes, it's the same concept. The bruise spell was bruises thou shalt not heap, bruises thou shalt not sweat, bruises thou shalt not run, until the Virgin Mary brings forth another son. Again, that's just the cultural context of this folk magic saying, never again, never happening, get out. And so you could use it the same way. Yep. Good recognition there, Shauna. The next one was headaches. So for headaches, I'm sure there are some spoken charms. And if I went to my lineage, they'd probably give me some ideas. I like shout out to my lineage. Okay. So I am in a Brahmarai group. We don't necessarily call ourselves a coven. We call ourselves a lineage. It's a matter of preference in that case. But I have been with them for more than half a decade at this point. I am now one of the leadership in this group. And it's very like decentralized, which I also really like. And I had a bit of an emergency this weekend where I can tell that story if you guys want to hear it too. I have no problem with that. But as I was going through that, my way of like trying to handle a situation where I was no longer in control was A, figure out what the astrology is to get context. And I will, yeah, okay. Um, and also to reach out to all of the people I know that do magic and say, hey, can you lend your energy to something here? So I'm basically reaching out and saying, hey, can you light a candle? Can you say a charm? Or what's a charm you would recommend I say? Because I can't think of one right now because I'm in a car. I don't have my library with me. Um, and so Braucherei, Braucherei, is how you spell that. Here you go. I'm going to make it so much easier to copy and paste. There we go. Braucherei is the art of trying. It means to try. So when you do work in Braucherei, you say, I'm going to try for you. And so you basically say, if it's in the highest and best interest of this person for this magic to work, fantastic. If it's not, I release attachment to that outcome. And I trust that there's some purpose behind this that's making it so. And I really like that mentality. It's very helpful as someone who, when I first started healing, the first technique is the one I'm going to teach you right now to help with headaches. I held myself accountable for that person's success. And I had my own definition of what success meant and may not have been the universal definition, right? May not have been the best part for that point in their journey. So what I learned, this literally when I was 10 years old, this is the first healing technique I ever learned to help with headaches before I had my surgery. And I learned it from the woman who was teaching me. She called it therapeutic touch at the time. It's very much like quantum touch as we know it today. So what you're going to do, and everybody can do this with me, put your hands out. Doesn't matter what direction they're facing. Eventually they're going to be facing in. Okay. But you're very slowly going to bring your energy in. Many of us have stress and things going on. What you're going to be feeling is how far out the energy around your head is. And so like, I've been doing a lot this morning. I can already feel the tingling in my hands or the heat in my hands or some kind of sensation. Sometimes it feels like when you just like feel like a push, like a little cushion of air. So you can feel it. And sometimes it's in here, sometimes it's out here, but feel it because now you're trying to manipulate energy. So you want to be very sensitive with energy around your head. If your headache is bad, right, your energy could be out to here, and that's okay. What you're going to then do is brush the energy away and brush it down into the earth. The earth can take that energy and remake it into something incredible, but you don't need it in your space anymore. So then you continue doing that, and you should be able to do it like closer and closer every time. This is also really helpful to calm yourself because if your brain's working really hard and the energy is really buzzy, you can then get closer and closer. And you can see how I'm gauging it and saying, like that's where I feel the tingle. That's where I'm going to keep and brush away. Now I feel it there. And you go until you can touch your head. Okay. So you go until you can touch your head. And eventually you might brush the energy down lower, like you can see how my arms are moving. This is really great that we're doing it on video. And we're right there. And here, because I'm getting closer to my head, right, the tingling is actually blending with heat. So again, whatever you feel is probably valid. It's going to be a very personal experience in that space. And yeah, it's a lot like Tai Chi, AJ. Yeah. So now I can touch my head. What I'm going to do here is give myself a lot of soothing, healing energy in my head. I just took a big amount of energy away from my head. It's probably going to wonder where that went. So you give it back, but you give it back. Maybe if you're a visualizing kind of person, you take away icky kind of energy and you give back feathers, right? Or you take away heavy energy and you give back pink sparkles, or just something that to you is going to fill in the space, but not create that same tension. This has helped me through actual mini strokes. Okay. Like it's that helpful. And I've seen it work for people. Like I used to be backstage when I was in theater and people would have headaches in between scenes. I would be like brushing away their headaches before they went back on stage. And so I've seen this work really well. I hope it works for you too. Additionally, though, let's get away from just energy stuff and talk about some remedy stuff. My favorite natural remedy is mint oil, mint essential oil, peppermint, same thing. Menthe is the same thing. Like they all work. You take just a little dab of it, you put it at your temples and you put it at the back of your head. I once woke up in screaming pain in my head to the point I thought my head was splitting open. I thought I was having an aneurysm. I woke up mid scream and and I put the oil on my temples around here. I put it up here too because that's where the pain was, and I put it at the back of my neck. And I tell you, when as soon as it got to the back of my neck, the pain went away and it subsided. You can also use this. It'll help open up your sinuses if you put it in some tea and let the steam do its work. That'll also help your throat if you're a singer and you want to, like, you're feeling a bit gunky and you need to clear that out. I've used that before auditions when I literally had a raspy throat and not much of a voice, and then I still went to do an audition. So this is how those things can work. Yes, mint. Mint is different than peppermint and menthe and all of those things, but because they have that similar property, they all work for this. I use menthe when I have my druthers, but mint is the one I would go to. Peppermint would be probably a tertiary. So menthe, mint, peppermint would be my like hierarchy there. Yeah, so those work really well for headaches. That way you get to do the energy thing. You've got some topical stuff. You can make, mint. It's also the menthe kind of thing is also a muscle relaxer. I think that's one of the main reasons why it works so well. So yeah, thinking about those, you can put a couple drops in a bath if you want to take like a really soothing bath. But mint and peppermint and menthe, fortunately, are also safe to ingest. So look it up extra if you feel like you should. But you can also use them as tea. Even just a mint tea, where my favorite thing about Egypt was when you ask for mint tea, they just put mint leaves in hot water and it steeps, because that is mint tea. Like, it's that natural. So you can do that as well. One of the herbs I try to keep growing in my garden is mint, and mint is invasive. So make sure if you're growing mint in any capacity, that you keep it contained, because it will just go nuts in your garden. Does it matter the brand of essential oil? You want a pure essential oil. So it does, only because you don't want someone mixing other crap in it, right? So you want it as just pure mint essential oil as possible. I used to use doTERRA when I had my shop. Now I'm fortunate, I just get it straight from Egypt when I go there. But if you can find like 100% pure, it's kind of like when you're doing a fruit juice, right? You want it to be 100% juice. You want this to be 100% pure essential oil. Fantastic question, Jenny. Yep. Yeah, cool. And it helps with the sinuses too, which is so good, because those are my two problem areas in life. And my throat is feeling better. Thank you. Cool. So yeah, that was headaches. TMJ, I'm not sure. I'm still struggling with that myself. Like I have TMJ issues and I am navigating that situation. I've been told, if you're having TMJ issues, especially if you're having like the muscle spasm things, I can tell you what works best for me. And it is to actually drink coffee or tea. The hot liquid, having it inside, being able to hold it inside my mouth a little bit, that has helped more than anything else for me. Like, if I cannot get past that muscle spasm, I will drink coffee. And by the time I'm done with that cup of coffee, it usually has resolved. But I've heard like there are massages that you can do. I've just tried them all and they don't work for me. But there are massages where you can actually, like, from the inside and outside, you would kind of pull down like this to wherever that pain is. I had a nurse with me when my jaw got stuck in Thailand, and she took a cup of tea, so it was warm, and she just sort of rolled it up and down here where the tension was. So these are some tips that I have. But yeah, I need to start looking into extra remedies for that as well. TMJ is a jerk. It's not my favorite thing, especially since if you are thinking about Invisalign, make sure if you have TMJ, you let them know about that, because there are things they can do to make it more helpful during the process of rearranging your whole jaw. And I'm in that process now. So I will know more in a couple of weeks, because we are in the thick of it. Cool. I think those were the three things that we talked about. So if there are any questions around that, let me know. I'm happy to clarify even more. Yeah, TMJ is not uncommon anymore. AJ is saying that they use a warm washcloth in the morning to warm the face after they've washed their face. Yeah, I would listen to that. And again, maybe you put some mint essential oil on your warm, damp washcloth and get some extra stuff going on. The cool thing about essential oils is that they can get into the cells a lot quicker. They can get straight into your cells. And so they get to work really fast. And that's really helpful when you're in a situation where you're like, wow, I really need to be able to open my mouth. So it's better that way. So yeah, I'm going to think about that and test it the next opportunity I get, which hopefully won't be for a while. Yeah, cool. I think, oh, also congratulations to Kristen on getting Astrology for Yourself, the workbook. I hope you have fun with that. I saw that in the chat before I joined a little bit, and I don't want to forget to call that out. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Did I miss anything? Are we caught up? And would you all like to hear a little bit about the transits this week? Just to be able to prepare for them, because they're interesting, and they start today. Like I can already feel it today. If you're having a headache, I can blame the transits on this one. Yep, we shouted out to Jenny very early in the thing. I think I got the person wrong though. So happy birthday to Jenny. That's awesome. Yeah, woo, transits. Ooh, her name means pearl. Hi, nice to see you. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the transits first. And then if I find a really useful reason to bring up the chart, I will. This one is more just like today, tomorrow, blah, blah, and that might just get like cross-eyed at some point. So, oh, Margaret, hey, cool. Oh, also, to anyone who was amazing enough to want to try to join the summit that I'm doing next Tuesday, where I'm going to be doing an hour-long sort of summit / interview thing. I'll be talking about astrology and all kinds of stuff with grounded spirituality. And I had a link that we had like orchestrated with the organization that's throwing the summit to share on November 2nd, but the link doesn't work yet. It doesn't look like they've activated the webpage yet. I checked the link. It is the correct link, but it's on their end. So I have reached out to them and said, hey, can you like make the link work? Keep your eye out if you're on my mailing list for another email, or if you're on Patreon. I'm just going to edit the original post and re-notify you when I do that so we don't spam our timeline. Patreon's going to be the easiest way to get that link just because it's more convenient and not as inboxes can feel really invasive to me when it comes to email. So I like the Patreon idea a little bit more. But I will update it all over when they actually activate the link. So I'll keep you posted. It would be so great to have you guys there because I'm excited to be able to share and to be able to, educate and have community and all of those things like I normally love to do. The energy of this particular summit feels like it needs us. So the more of you that are there as well, I think the better the summit will feel for all of us, because you guys are also the energy of grounded spirituality and what it looks like to actually walk the talk. And I appreciate you very much. Yeah, Mercury retrograde is coming in hot. You are correct, Margaret. Yeah, well, that's because the details were supposed to be on the link and the link doesn't work. So yay. But it is next Tuesday and I can actually look it up because I do have it on my calendar. Yeah. Tuesday next, which will be, it's the 11th, right? I'm really lucky. I get to do it like the day Jupiter goes retrograde, which is fun. It's going to be, is it next Tuesday? I thought it was next Tuesday. I do not know. I'm going to have to, oh, nope, it's the 13th. Okay, it's Thursday the 13th at 1 p.m. So we're going to be doing it right around the time of the last quarter moon in Leo, which will also be fun. Right during next week, I'm excited to talk to you guys more because next week we've got a trine between Saturn and Jupiter, which is nifty. Yeah, Danny, it is your birthday. Happy birthday. Thank you guys. Yeah, I will get you the link as soon as I have the right link. Thursday the 13th, 1 p.m. is the summit. I appreciate you, AJ. Thank you so much. But let's talk about this week. This week, starting today, okay, we're just going to go through the transits day by day, and then we'll talk about it and see, what questions or anything we have that we can make it feel more useful. So today, Mars trines Neptune. Mars is a more terrestrial planet. It's a little bit more closer to Earth. And it is more personal in the way that we experience Mars. Now, I've said this before, but I'll reiterate really quickly. When we have planets that are closer or farther away from Earth, sometimes we say, oh, that one we're going to feel a little bit more personally than the other. Mars, we will feel more personally because it's this close to us as compared to Neptune, which like I literally would have to throw this ball away to actually give you scale for how far away Neptune is, right? We cannot see Neptune with the naked eye. I follow this one account that's like, oh, planets visible right now, Neptune and blah, blah, blah. No, it's not. Neptune is not visible with the naked eye. You would need a telescope. You can see it with a telescope. Uranus is about to come into the phase of its orbit where it's going to be visible with the naked eye soon. That's pretty interesting because it's a not super common thing. So, but that also means like if we can see Uranus and Uranus can see us, and Uranus is all about unpredictability, yay. So that's that's how the astrologer thinks about it. So when I say Mars is a little bit more personal for us, I mean it because Mars is closer to us. Mars is close enough to the sun that it's still a rocky terrestrial planet. After that, they're so far away, they can't even have a rocky form. They're gas giants, right? So that's one way you can think about it. If it's a gas giant, it's probably not as personal of an experience as the rockier planets that are similar to Earth in the fact that they are rocky, but also close enough to us that we can see their transits happening and unfolding over shorter periods of time. Naked Uranus, yes. I saw what I did there and I was like, you know what? Sure. Uranus would be the streaker on the field, so it's fine. So Mars is going to trine Neptune. And what that does is Mars is basically going to say, hey, I've got a direct line to Earth, Neptune. I'm talking to you and I'm going to convey that to Earth. So Mars is playing the go-between. And so Mars does like action and, can be combative, can be very he's either the soldier or the hero, right? He's the one in action. He can be valiant or he can be villainous. It just depends on how he's doing. Now, how is he doing? He's at the very last degree of Scorpio. Scorpio is his sign. Mars rules the sign of Scorpio, so he is strong. The sun is also in Scorpio, but not close enough to burn him up, so he's visible, and he's got the sun with him as well. This is a condition we call chariot. It is a bonus point, right? And so Mars is strong. Mars is doing well. Mars has no one to tell him no or where to go. And so Neptune is saying, let's dream. So Neptune being at 29 degrees Pisces, they are forming this really close 180-degree angle to each other. And we can witness that from Earth by, Neptune coming through Mars to us. So this is where, as an example, I had 3 nightmares in a row on Saturday night. And so the dreams that we might get from Mars may be combative, or they might be sports, right? They're just something that's very active and involved. And so if you've been having some aggressive nightmares, they should pass after this, which would be nice. But just also know there may be some conflicts that arise that are not as inflated as they seem. Neptune may make these out to feel more emotional, to feel more aggressive, to have more of an illusion to them than they actually are. And that is part of the thread that I am noticing this week and next week, where thanks to Mercury retrograde and Mars being involved in like everything, and then the outer planets getting involved with things, we are seeing things that feel really big, and we might feel really off center by them. And so we get put into our defensive state, or we get put into an insecure state or something like that. And then our relationships get all wonky because we're all feeling not like ourselves and crazy. And we're not able to really communicate in our best ways. So my recommendation this week and next week, take a breath. The other thing Neptune allows us to do is breathe and meditate and really focus on the images we want to see. So this is your opportunity to play your Harry Potter and figure out what your Bogart spell is, because that's what you're going to be using this week. Overachiever, 3 nightmares. Yes, I don't do anything halfway. So if I'm going to have nightmares, I'll take 3. Yeah, it was a crazy weekend, and my subconscious has been doing the work. On the note of subconscious, That is another Neptunian and Piscean kind of common theme. Neptune is in Pisces, so is Saturn. So the nightmares are there as well, right? We're seeing our subconscious trying to process, trying to structure, trying to make sense of the illusory. And so that's another theme that's coming in from other planets. This is the one thing that's going to be very important to remember over the next year, to be honest with you. We are not in a state where we're just blaming one planet for a thing. We are in an alphabet soup of transit cycles doing their things in very big ways. I'm going to be sharing this with my student study in our newsletter at the end of this week. But we're in like this one cycle next week that should be showing us really good things. And then, I couldn't in good conscience be like, oh yeah, peace, because have you looked at stuff? So rather than bypassing and being like, well, it should be peaceful. So what are we missing? I'm acknowledging that that's not the only thing happening right now. So this is happening in a context of something else that is so rare, and it is perfecting. It started up, we saw the beginnings of it this year. We're going to see it perfect over the course of next year. And I should say, we're going to see them perfect over the course of the next year. I will be bringing this up in the student study as well. It's super rare, like thousands and thousands of years rare. If you picked now to be alive, which you did because you're here, you picked a time, and so did I. So I'm here with you. I get it. But also, please, please know you are here during such a unique time. It's not a time where we're just sitting by. We are taking the Mars cue here and saying it's about action. It's about building. It's about taking our vision and saying, what bricks do I need to lay to make this real? So that's one of the ways that you can take any excess energy that you have that's saying, ooh, nightmares, and say, actually, I'd rather the dream, and say that I'm ready to start laying the brick and mortar for that. That will appease the Mars and the Saturn in this scenario. So that's going to help out a lot. Now, that's the energy we're feeling today. And looking into next week a little bit. Tomorrow, Mars is going to cruise along. And because Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and Saturn are all connecting to each other on and off, those are the ones I'm talking about this year and next year. That means tomorrow, Mars is going to oppose Uranus. We talked about Uranus a little bit in the beginning here. Uranus is this, surprise kind of person. Uranus would be the streaker on the field. And Uranus is close enough to us now that we can see him too. And so it becomes even more visceral in our awareness of this sort of natural force energy of Uranus. Uranus is also about to move back into Taurus, where Uranus has been chilling in Gemini for a bit and will move back there. Uranus is going to be in Taurus for a while. I'm trying to find my exact dates here. It's going to move back later this week. On the 7th, Uranus is going to come back into Taurus for one more go. And in that time, Uranus is going to be taking care of Taurian themes. Taurian themes are material resources, can be related to however we support ourselves, right? So it's the materials we use to build our shelter. It's the materials we use to cook our food. It's the materials we use to trade and exchange. Just think of all of your bare necessities, your Lincoln logs in life. Those are the things that Uranus has been messing with literally since 2018. 17, 18. So we've been through it, right? You've seen it. And we are now going into a period where Uranus is saying, hey, cherry on that Sunday before I move on. Okay. So just be aware for that. It's part of a context where we're already kind of rolling our eyes at that kind of subjective stuff anyway. Which I can blame on the metaphorical timing for the United States. Like I said, it's cycles upon cycles upon cycles, and we're seeing it all really congealing right now. So can I blame any one thing for something right now? No, there's a lot of themes agreeing with each other and also playing tug of war with each other right now. It's a cosmic mess, and we're doing our best. And so Mars is going to oppose Uranus being in Gemini for a bit. And so that means Mars is going to get out of Scorpio and dip into Sagittarius. Mars will continue through Sagittarius, which is the opposite sign to Gemini. That's why they're going to oppose each other. So when Mars comes into Sagittarius, he's going to oppose Uranus. And that's what we're going to see tomorrow. So if you see people just having their temper go off like a firecracker, or if something goes on of a martial nature that is a surprising thing that we didn't expect, that's the kind of thing where we might correlate that with the Mars opposite Uranus. Ren says, I didn't get nightmares, but someone is sending me giant spiders again. Ew. Well, depending on if you like spiders. Half awake, half asleep, I'll see a large spider skittering across the ceiling. It's never real, but always panic inducing. Fair. Yeah, that's fair. Glad it's not real, but also, it feels real in that moment. And I appreciate that feeling. Now, our respite, our refugia in this week is going to be on Wednesday the 5th. This is that full moon in Taurus we talked about last week. I have a video out on it now on my YouTube that goes deep into it. I'll be posting more on social media about it. This is your day where you want to be like, listen, I'm in control here. I'm the captain of my ship. This is what I want. This is what I'm doing. It's a very good moon for releasing anything in your way. And I've been getting a lot of people responding to my post yesterday saying, I've never thought about full moons for manifesting. The moon is manifesting. Releasing is a part of manifesting. It's one of the steps in the process. So you're always manifesting because that's what we are doing in life in almost every choice we make. It's just what part of the manifesting cycle are we in? And so it's very important when we're thinking about the full moon, it's not just about releasing. When the moon is full, it is as full as she gets. It's about recognition, realization, reflection, and then allowing the energy to wane, and then releasing things that are in the way of what I now realize I want. So there's a lot of epiphany that comes along with the full moon that then informs what you may need to get out of the way in order to be able to move forward. So I want to make sure that we're not making it too, as someone who is so prone to making things black and white, I want to make sure that we allow things to flow in that way, right? So that's what we can think about. It's a good full moon. I know there's a lot of other stuff going on. That's all I wanted. Going on. And this is a good moment. So yes, the world's going nuts, but in your personal part of the world, in your personal sphere of influence, you can be doing these things for yourself. We need to, more than ever, give ourselves permission to smile and to find joy, even in these times. Because if we forget what joy is, if we forget what good feels like, we won't be able to bring it back as easily, right? On larger scales. So please make sure you are taking care of yourself and allowing yourself to be happy, allowing yourself to celebrate when something good happens, allowing yourself to be proud and excited and those kinds of things. We all deserve it. Okay. So then on Thursday the 6th, Venus is going to finish her time in Libra, where she's been nice and happy and in domicile. She's going to move into Scorpio, where it's Mars's sign, right? So she doesn't want to be there, but that's where she'll be for a while. And at that same time, Mars will interact with Pluto. We were talking about that whole outer planet chaos that's going on. Mars is going to talk to Pluto in a sextile aspect. This could be on the more subtler side, but it's Mars and Pluto. So I'm not pulling back too much on that. Think about Mars and Pluto. They like to transform things, and there's a lot of active transformation that goes along with that. Pluto works on a very transpersonal scale, so this is something that we may notice on a larger context in headlines or something like that, but we may have personal feelings about it. And if it's personal in the nature of Mars, we may be feeling like, are you kidding me again? There may be some frustration, that kind of stuff, which unfortunately is not unfamiliar right now. There's some loud noise happening out front. I hope that that's not getting into the microphone. I'm going to just move this. I can deal with it. I hope you guys aren't hearing it. Cool. Someone pulled out a chainsaw. So they're not coming for me. They're coming for a bush. Cool. Thank you, AJ. So that's the 6th. On the 7th, Venus, who has now come into Scorpio, will square Pluto because Pluto's in Aquarius and those signs are at a right angle to each other. So we're going to have that. And on the same day, Uranus will make that egress. It's the opposite of ingress. It'll go backwards into Taurus for that last run. On Saturday, take a break. On Saturday, take a break. There are no perfecting transits. And then the next day, Mercury will go retrograde. But on Saturday, there's nothing happening to a perfection, right? We're still in the context and the tone of everything else that's going on. but there's nothing that's really locking into place or poking you that day. So let that be your day for you. Do things that you want to do. Saturday, take a break. And then be aware that on Sunday, on the 9th, Mercury will station to go retrograde, starting out in Sagittarius, and will eventually make it back into Scorpio, go direct on the 29th of November, and then move back into Sagittarius and finish its time there. Now, the reason I'm focusing on Sagittarius is because if Mercury rules Gemini, and as we mentioned before, Sagittarius is the opposite sign to Gemini, Mercury is in the sign of their detriment. They're not happy particularly to be there. Now, when it comes to Mercury, I have sort of thoughts on this, and I know a lot of astrologers do. When Mercury is in detriment, it doesn't, yes, things go extra wonky, right? It's not organized. It's Mercury having so many ideas and having everywhere to put them. And when you have everywhere to put them, sometimes they get lost and you can't find them. And it's like, well, it's not even an organized chaos, right? It's just chaos. It can be fun. You like, again, Sagittarius has a lot of fun energy to it. It is a sign ruled by Jupiter. It's mutable, it's fire, it's got energy to it. It likes change, it likes surprises, it likes learning. And with Mercury in there, it might be so many shiny things and not being able to really narrow down where you want to stick. So there's not like the structured focus of I'm going this way and I'm learning this and I'm, getting my certification. It's more of the I'm experiencing everything, and it's like having the image in my head right now is like having a 3 scoop ice cream sundae with like 4 toppings, just because you don't want to just pick one flavor, right? You want all of it. You want to know what it all tastes like. You want the sensation of, your mouth getting all of those tastes and flavors and that kind of stuff. You just want to experience it all. So that's the kind of energy that we get. Yeah, Gabe, all the toppings. That's the image I get in my head. So I don't necessarily find Mercury in the signs of its detriment terrible, but it's not organized and it's not grounded, right? So when we think about your typical Mercury retrograde trope of, technology is going wrong and this and that, if I were someone, and I am actually, who was looking to do all the Mercury retrograde generic things, right? They say don't get a haircut. I'm going to be getting a haircut. They say don't sign a contract. I don't think I'm planning on signing a contract, but anyway, they say don't get a haircut, don't sign a contract, don't travel, don't make big purchases, all those things. I would make sure that you just research all of your options. The one thing that I feel like we get into the risk of with Mercury retrograde, particularly in Sagittarius for the time that it's in Sagittarius, which by the way is until November 18th, from the 9th to the 18th, just make sure you look at all of your options. Give yourself permission to sample. And that will be kind of lining up with Mercury, what Mercury is doing anyway. And if you're lining up with what Mercury is doing anyway, that's basically planetary charity, which means you're going with the flow. Cool. It'll work out better for you that way. After the 18th, start planning for how you're going to fit that thing that you spent all this time researching, about a week and a couple days. You've researched it, you've sampled. Now you know which one you want. This is the time between the 18th and the 29th to say, well, I want this model of this thing that I'm getting, or I want these terms in the contract, or I want this hairstyle. And here's how I'm going to fit into my life. Here's how I'm going to pay for it. Here's where it's going to sit in my house. If you're looking at like furniture and you're like, well, where am I going to put it? Figure out the layout of your room, all those things. And on the 29th, when Mercury goes direct again, go ahead and do whatever you want to do, right? If you have the option to go that structured with your time, that's what I would recommend. If you need to make a decision and it requires you to do something during Mercury retrograde and you don't have the other option, don't fret about it, because life still happens even when transits are transiting, and transits are always transiting, just like life is always lifing. So yeah, I'm still getting a haircut. Yes, I made a big purchase actually yesterday because I am trying to avoid Mercury retrograde. But like, Em and I are starting a Twitch channel this Wednesday. Do you think we're going to have technical difficulties over the next few weeks? Heck yeah. We're going to take some time to figure it out. It's going to be a rocky road and we're going to laugh the entire way. And you're welcome to join us. Because we will be there playing video games and talking about spirituality in video games, out of video games, socializing, bringing doing tarot pulls for what decisions we should make in the games, those kinds of things. We are leaning into the sampling nature by just saying it'll work out. and we're going to give ourselves the opportunity to experiment and to experience. That's the way it is. Sometimes we do things and they're not supposed to go right the first time, because then you get this very brief, shallow experience of it. And what if you're supposed to get the deep experience? What if you're supposed to understand it? What if this is a process of initiation through education and experience? And on the other side of it, you come out a guru in how to, I don't know, purchase a whatever it is that you're purchasing, like a gaming PC on the topic of Twitch, right? You research all the specs, you research all this stuff, you know it, and you've experienced what it's like when it breaks. Now you know how to fix it. That's really cool. And so Mercury really wants that for you, right? Mercury does like helping us learn. And sometimes we learn through experience, through trial and error. And that's where we're at. Yeah. So, yes. Let me catch up really quickly on some of the comments. And if I need to repeat anything, let me know. But yeah, that's the week. So that's what I wanted to say. And I've got plenty of extra time to go through anything anybody wants to hear again, anything someone wants to hear differently, whatever we need. Saturday, November 8th, you do you, boo-boos. Yes. Thank you, AJ. Santa Barbara Maslar, it's good to see you too. Thank you for being here. Cool. All the toppings. Yeah, it makes me kind of hungry, actually, Gabe. When is Mercury retrograde starting? Mercury, looks like AJ got you down here. Mercury retrograde is November 9th through the 29th. Awesome. You're looking at new dishwashers. Yeah. Yeah. So again, there's a couple things that Dan and I are wanting to do. And we came into circumstances just dumped on us in both good and challenging ways. And we were like, cool, now we have to sort this out, and we have to use, we're both ADHD. So I was like, let's use the hyperfixation, like excitement energy we have as much as we can before this Saturday, because I don't want it to stagnate when Mercury goes retrograde. So we did a ton of research yesterday. We planned things out. We structured a bunch of stuff. We made a bunch of appointments. Most of them are hopefully before Mercury goes retrograde. But again, they become our research and our sampling. For one of the things, like we're looking for someone to help us. I'm terrible at math. So I'm like, I need someone who can help me with accounting. And I have had a hard time finding a good accountant over the past couple years. So I'm using the beginning of this Mercury retrograde to interview several accountants. And then I will get to hopefully find a good one, maybe after the 18th. And I will let you know. And then by the end of it, I'll have a good relationship where I feel like I can trust this person. And that'll be awesome. And so that's another good example of like what we're doing. We have some bigger purchases we want to make. So we're like, where are the sales? What's likely to come up? Let's strategize. Let's do this. But we also are trying to like not really make some big purchases between, I think, November 25th through December 2nd or something like that. And so in that time, we're like, well, if we don't want to purchase then, we should look at now, because Mercury retrograde ends in that time frame anyway. So like thinking about, are we going to kick ourselves later if we don't do it now? Those are the kinds of things. If you can, great. This is your opportunity to say, hey, do I have the opportunity to schedule things out a little bit and know that I'm flexible with it? Stay flexible during Mercury retrograde. I think that's probably the best recommendation I can give you. Somehow my dog is still barking at something, even though all the windows are closed. So I apologize about Jack right now. He might have to go into air jail. We'll see. Stephlin, it's good to see you. Yes. Cool. All right. I think I'm caught up. AJ, have I missed anything? If I have, let me know. I will address it. And we've got about 10 more minutes. How are you guys doing? Jack says, stay angry. Jack himself is a Scorpio with an Aries moon. So if anybody knows Mars and confusion with the trine to Neptune today, it's Jack and his lovely, adorable half a brain cell. Listen, I know that sounds rough, but he is so cute and he is so wonderful. And he's a good boy. And he's got a very smooth brain, and it's part of his charm. Zelda, however, she is calculating. Yeah, he's the best. Yep. He is not coming anywhere near me. So otherwise I would try to grab him, because y'all, I can lift stuff again. I did this. I did an overhead press with a 20 this morning, and I'm so proud of myself. Oh, I used to be able to do more and I will do more again. But right now, that is victory for me. And I'm so excited to be getting stronger. Yes. Thank you guys. It's been what, like a month and a half since I was hit by a car and dislocated my shoulder. And I'm getting there. And this is more on a friendly level. So I was driving by the intersection where it happened today, and they've got those lovely, it's a crosswalk. It's a legit crosswalk. It's got the blinking lights. It doesn't have like a traffic light, but it's got the blinking lights and the thing that says warning, lights flashing, and nobody cares. Um, but I saw construction workers working there, and I'm like, ooh, are we going to get something that's actually like going to encourage people to not do this? Because yes, I got hit once, but I will tell you last weekend, Dan and I were using the crosswalk, and almost the exact same scenario happened again. The difference this time wasn't that the cars stopped. No, the car in the same lane as last time did not stop, but we were coming from the other direction. So we were able to see it and avoid it this time, as compared to the last time where I was behind the first car and couldn't see them. And so got hit when they came through. But like, dang, y'all, it's a crosswalk, I swear. Yeah, so I'm getting stronger. I think I only have 2 more sessions of physical therapy, and we'll see how that goes. Yay for range of motion improvements. Yeah, the strength has not been too much of a problem. The only thing that's like the range of motion issue is when he does this and tries to bend it like way back. I'm not a fan. So we're working on that. But yeah, yeah, it's a great experience that I now have and hopefully never have to repeat again. That's what I'm excited about. So, yeah. But yeah, I hope you guys have a really great week in general. You know, go with the flow. If you have energy, channel it into something creative and exciting. You know, try to use Mars in his better expression. If you feel geared toward anger, ask yourself what you're actually angry about and what you need. If you know what you need, you can say, hey, listen, I can feel myself being a little frustrated here because I need this. Is there any way we can make that happen? That's going to help in a lot of situations. I literally did that yesterday. Dan said something. I was like, I feel myself having like an irritable reaction to this in particular, but I know it's just because I feel this way. And he was like, totally valid. Let's do something about that. Look at us with our emotionally mature communication. Yeah, post car accident. Yep. Yeah, so those are some things that I would recommend for the week. Channel your energy into creativity, channel it into excitement, channel it into fitness or sporty things if that's something that you enjoy. I know like I really like fitness, right? But you can always see me fumble when I try to talk about sports because no. Strength I can do. Coordination, So like there's this one move at physical therapy they have me doing. It's like one of those it's a stability move. So you have like it's basically a bow and arrow, but it's not strung, so it's just a straight wobbly thing. And he wants me to do it like this. And y'all, I was like, I don't even think this is a reflection on my strength. I just think I'm not coordinated. So he doesn't laugh at my jokes as much as I wish he did, but it's fine. Trying to pause for the cause with frustration. Christina, I love that. They could also channel it into a trauma trip. Yeah. So this is a great point, AJ. We do still have spots open on all of our, and all the trips are now revealed for 2026. If you are looking for opportunities to get out of the madness and have your nervous system reset, nothing works for me as well as actually getting to travel. And we set this up so that you are taken care of. It's 99% all inclusive. There's a couple lunches and dinners you might be able to, like, we go out and do like street food and stuff. You won't have to do it alone. You just have to pay for it on your own. But that being said, we have Germany, Peru, and Greece. Greece, even right now, still has one early bird spot where you can get it for cheaper. And yes, there are payment plans. So you can snag your spot now and pay it off over time and not have to worry about it. You can snag it now before Mercury retrograde and then wait until after Mercury retrograde to get into like the rest of the stuff if you wanted to, just as a fun little callback to all of our stuff. But yeah, we love doing this. It's the best remedy to uncertainty. It's the best opportunity to experience things, to travel, to grow, to meet great people. God, I'm so lucky for the people that we meet on these trips. And if you're one of them, I mean you. Um, so please feel free. The link is always in the description of every YouTube video I have. Um, and in the links in all of my bios of social media, you can always go there or just search Emily and Crystalline Trova trip and you will find all of our trips. It's very easy to find. It's so good. Trova does a really good job. We love working with them. And they are so inclusive and aware and socially responsible too. So we've got all of that covered. Flights are not included, but hotels are, transfers are, most meals are, all the excursions are, everything else really is. And the good thing about flights not being included is like if you have points on a certain airline, you can use your airline and still get your points. I am always using my preferred airline so that I can get my upgrades and stuff. And there's the link. Thank you, AJ. Yeah. Ren, tips for transiting Saturn squaring natal Venus, as it looks like it's going to be stuck there for a while. Yeah. So Ren, first of all, I want to point out that I often get people that are like, "Oh, Saturn is squaring my Neptune." And I'm like, "Yeah, I wouldn't really worry about it, right? Because Neptune's way far out there and everybody in your sub generation has Neptune roughly in that space. But your Venus is much more personal. So this one is one that I would look at. And I want to kind of just, call out that, yeah, well spotted. So yeah, oh my God, AJ, it'd be so fun to have you in Germany. So for Saturn squaring your natal Venus, there's a lot of context we would want to look at here in your chart, right? Like Venus is in Sagittarius. We know this. What house is she in? Who else is she connected to? What is she promising in your chart? Because the thing she's promising in your chart, if Saturn is squaring that, Saturn is going to maybe challenge those things, right? So you may be being asked to bring new levels of trust and fidelity and reliability and responsibility, Saturn terms, into your relationship. And that may show up through things that stop working because you have that energy of conflict of the square, right? Saturn is saying, hey, Venus, I bet you don't trust this. And Venus is like, you know what? I see your bet and I raise you responsibility. I see your bet and I raise you commitment. Or I see your bet and I raise you boundaries. And so those are some things that you can do to say, how can I navigate these challenges that may be coming and feeling restrictive on my relationships? I can make sure that I'm getting what I need, that I'm honoring who I am, and that the people I'm dealing with in relationships, and this is very generic of an interpretation for Venus, but the people I'm dealing with in these relationships are also seen for who they are. The certain level of autonomy of two individuals choosing to do something together is very important in relationships, especially when it comes to Saturn bringing in some energy there. Ren, you have a reading with me coming up. We will make sure I'm going to notice this when I look at your chart. So we'll bring it up then too, and feel free to bring it up during the reading and we'll make sure we discuss it then because Saturn will still be in Pisces the day of your reading. I know when your reading is. Yeah, it's going to be stuck there for a little bit. Saturn actually will get out of Pisces early 2026. So yes, months, but not years. So we'll take it. But yeah, those are some things that I would bring up as a generic interpretation of that, but I will be looking at your chart in depth because you have a consultation with me. So I'll make sure that we give you your personal interpretation as well. Yes, you can book a reading with me through my site. I have now opened it up that you can book them 2 months in advance. Why do I do this? It's because I don't know who I'm going to be in 2 months. And I want to make sure that if I'm making promises, I'm very Saturnian. If I'm making a promise to you, I want to make sure I can keep it. So I do this so that it feels more equal opportunity for people to have readings when they need them rather than accidentally having like a year-long booking list and then for your astrology, especially, stuff may move on. So this gives everybody the opportunity. Every day new sessions are opening up and it's open to anybody who gets to them at the time that they're supposed to. The reason I limit them to 2 months as well is because I can make sure that my schedule is adapted to that. Whereas if it's a year from now, I really don't know what's going to be going on then. And I want to be reliable for you. If you want to know how Saturn works, unfortunately, I'm familiar. So just look at the way I do things and you will see Saturn. Yes. Also, one last thing, because you asked, like, what does this mean for me? I am launching on this full moon on the 5th on that day, I'm launching a sort of what does this mean for me course. It's called Pop Stars. It's going to teach you how to interpret your natal chart enough to know what you like, how what you see on social media relates and is relevant to you, including your timing techniques like annual perfection. So you will know what planets are relevant. You will know when someone's like, oh, this is happening. Is it happening to you though? Is it happening in a way that you need to care about it? You'll know. You will also have a basic understanding of how to interpret your own natal chart. And it's going to make you feel a lot more grounded in astrology and a lot more aware of what to care about and what to be like, that's just someone getting sensational over here. I have a whole mini rant in this course about what to worry about and what not to worry about in astrology. Is the sky falling or isn't it? Most of the time it's not. But I let you know, like, if it is, it would look like this. I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about it. I had a really good time putting it together. I was thinking about you guys the entire time. And so I felt the good energy going into it. And that made me really happy. There's a workbook in it. It's like Demetra George's thing, but way simpler. It's more like Mad Libs. So it's very simple. And there's flashcards to help you get used to the symbols of the signs and everything, and even to go a little bit deeper into what they mean so that you can sort of get into the vibe of how to interpret them on your own. Yeah. And so I have a question here about when we're doing Twitch. Where are my courses? They are on my website. There's a courses section on my website. Twitch is going to be 6 to 8 this Wednesday. Em and I are going to be trying to figure out how to make that work today. I think I've got it pretty much. There's some parts that I may add along the way to make it even more smooth and professional, but I think I have what I need to at least get started. And so that will be this Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time to 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern time, depends on how we go. We'll be deciding what game we're starting with, and we'll be getting that all up and running. And yeah, so everything will be there. And I'm excited. Again, we're doing this the Mercury retrograde way. So bear with us as we experience and figure it out and sample. But it will be so good to have you guys there. When people are there, just like with this, right? When people are there, it's so much more fun. So thank you for being here. I hope I'll see you there in a cozy way. You can watch us and interact with us while you're like having your dinner or whatever. I always watch Twitch streams while I'm having dinner. I know that's weird, but it's fun and it's kind of cozy. So hopefully that's great. If you have a game that you would like us to play, feel free to go on my Patreon or to comment on a post anywhere on my socials or anything like that and let me know what game you'd like to see. We'll take it into consideration. With that, I'm going to pop off. Updates happen on Instagram and Patreon and literally everywhere, mostly Patreon on the free tier. So you don't have to like pay for anything to get updates on Patreon from me. Just join the free tier. You get a free newsletter every week. You get updates. You get the first news when a trip goes live, all that stuff on the free tier. No worries. And I will see you guys on Wednesday. New episode of Alchemist Inkwell comes out today. The podcast pre-recorded. And then the next live opportunity we get to hang out will be Wednesday, and then also on Friday. So have a great week, everybody. Happy full moon in Taurus. I love it for you guys. There's a whole video here on YouTube where you can look into it more. And may grace be with you this week, and may the excitement of Mars be what finds you. Go make some magic. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much. Bye.